We've got a whole videotape 2 hours long on this very topic, lies in the textbooks. We also have produced a little booklet called Are You Being Brainwashed by Your Public School Science Textbook? That might give students or teachers some helpful information to know what is not true. I was in a debate one time with a professor who believed in evolution, and I showed some of the things that are not true in the textbooks. I went for about an hour. He got up and he said, now folks, Mr. Hovind is right. These things are not true. But I'd like to ask him a question. What would he replace them with? I thought, wait a minute, I have to find a replacement for evidence for his theory? I would say if you don't have any evidence for your theory, maybe you need to get a new theory. I don't know if that thought ever occurred to him before or not, but I sure suggested it to him. It's understandable that people want kids to believe a particular way. I mean, I try to convert people to believe what I believe, and I think probably everybody in the world does that. But there are some people who are very dedicated to teaching evolution, and they want to make sure kids believe this theory. One of the worst of the textbook publishers that I've seen in all my study on this topic is the BSCS series. Boy, if they get involved in it, you can count on it. It'll be loaded with evolution. They were one of the first groups, one of the government-funded groups to publish textbooks in 1960, 61, 62, 63, during that era. Many books began to come out really pushing evolution strongly. And there's lots of reasons behind why that happened. If you give me a call, we can go into a long discussion sometime on that. But there's an alternative. If a teacher says, well, what book should I get? Well, I recommend you get the least poisonous. And that may change from year to year. It doesn't mean it's always going to be the Merrill Science. They may put a whole bunch in their books next time. You might want to get hold of the Gablers. They would be helpful on discussing that. You might want to just get a supplemental book like this one, Of Pandas and People. This little book is an excellent biology book, but it covers biology from an intelligent design perspective instead of millions of years of evolution. And that may be something you could use in your classroom, where it doesn't talk about God or the Bible. It just says, hey, there must have been a designer, an intelligent designer. I think what's in these books is so important, because what the kids read in a book, of course, especially at junior high, high school level, they're going to think, well, it's in the book, it must be true. Adolf Hitler said, let me control the textbooks, and I will control the state. Who selects the books you buy anyway? And how is this done? Well, textbook selection, basically, to simplify a kind of a complex process here, there are 50 states in America. 22 of those states have a state textbook selection committee. In the other states, the teacher can pick their own books, or the school district can pick their books. You know, there are no regulations. But in the 22 states that have a state textbook selection committee, there will be 12 or 15 or 20 people meet in the state capitol typically, and they will get a book from each of the publishers. The publishers will send a sample copy of their book. Sometimes they even send a representative and wine them and dine them and say, you know, please buy our books. They're trying to sell their books. Money's the bottom line. And these 12 publishers will send their books saying, please buy our book. Then the textbook selection committee will look over the 12 books or 10 or whatever it is, and they will pick out a few that they recommend. In Florida, for instance, where I live, the state textbook selection committee narrows it from 12 down to 5. Those 5 titles are sent to each of the local school districts, and the school district will select a committee of people. Usually the school board members will select somebody to represent them on the textbook selection committee. That committee will meet typically in January or February to look over the books that are available so that they can get them ordered and get them in time for September. The committee then will look over the 5 approved state books, and they will pick 1 or 2 that they approve for their county. And then those books will be purchased by the teacher and used for the next 6 years in class. 1 year they'll pick science, and next year they pick English or history. They rotate. Different districts have different ways they do it, but that's the general concept. And the atheists and evolutionists seem to have been really good at getting on the textbook selection committees to make sure evolution is taught. They know, of course, they can't hold a meeting and teach everybody evolution in a town meeting because nobody would show up to the meeting. So they have to present the evolution at the taxpayer's expense via the textbooks. And that's where teachers come in, and they can do something about it. You can select books that simply don't contain that information, or put a warning sticker in the front, or cut out the bad pages. I mean, your school bought the book. You can do with it as you please. So I'd recommend you maybe get on that committee. Some practical things you can do. And this has been done in many areas. Get the pages, get a book. Let's say you already paid $50 for the book. You don't want to throw the whole book away. So you get the book and find the places where false information is presented, like the gill slits, the tailbone being vestigial, the horse having 4 toes, every one of the so-called cavemen evidence for evolution, even the section about the geologic column and the layers being different ages. Absolutely not true. And I cover all that on our seminar videotape. You might want to get that seminar on lies in the textbooks. But you can go through your textbook, find the places where the information is not correct, and cut the page out. I'm sure you can get local volunteers in churches in your area that would be thrilled to come help do that. Cut out the false information. If you'd like, send me a sample copy of your book, and I will make a list and tell you what pages need to be removed. I have read through scores, if not hundreds and hundreds of these textbooks, and I can find these things very quickly. Or, an alternative to that, you could simply glue the pages together, the pages that contain false information. You could put a warning sticker in the front cover of your textbook. Alabama requires a warning sticker if books teach evolution, to warn the kids the difference between micro and macro evolution. You may want to get my little brainwashed book, which contains much information in there about lies in the textbooks, to show the students, hey kids, this is not true, this has been proven wrong a long time ago. Many states have laws that require textbooks to be accurate, and I think that's very reasonable. For instance, Florida Statute 233.09 says all instructional materials recommended by each council for use in their school shall be, to the satisfaction of each council, accurate. Now the problem with the Florida law is that little phrase, to the satisfaction of each council. There's the problem. There are things in Florida textbooks that are absolutely not accurate. They're bold-faced lies, but the council said they were fine, so they're tolerated. They need to get the lawmakers that have some backbone to stand up and say, look, take that phrase out. Textbook should be accurate, period. Texas has a law that says instructional materials shall present the most factual information, and theory shall be clearly distinguished from facts and presented in an objective manner. Now, they're not in Texas textbooks, and I've got Texas textbook right here beside me. I've got quite a few of them. They are not presented objectively. Evolution is taught dogmatically, but the law says it's supposed to be. In Wisconsin, the administrative code says textbooks shall have factual accuracy. In Alabama, they have a sticker that says, this textbook discusses evolution, a controversial theory some scientists present as a scientific explanation for the origin of living things. No one was present when life first appeared on Earth. Therefore, any statements about life's origins should be considered as theory, not fact. Microevolution, it's got a whole section describing micro and macroevolution, which are very different, by the way. No connection whatsoever between the two. You might want to get one of the Alabama stickers and use it as a model to create something for your school textbooks, that you could warn the kids, hey, this information is not true. I think it's also important that students and teachers be aware of their legal rights on this topic. For instance, you might want to get this book, Students' Legal Rights, in your public school campus, showing how that students have the right to be exempt from any class that is teaching something contrary to their religion. If the parents go to the school and say, look, I don't want my kid taught evolution, I don't want them taught sex education or whatever, the schools have to abide by that. They have to say, okay, if you don't want the kid taught that, then we will take them out. And they have to provide alternative material, and they cannot punish the student for not being in the class. They can't test them on things where they weren't, when the student wasn't there. So I think that'd be a reasonable way to do it. Now, what's happening in our schools has me deeply concerned as I go speak in public schools very frequently, and honestly, I would like to help. I think it's important that we understand the law. What does the law say? The law says you can teach creation if you want. You don't have to, but you can if you want. Don't let anybody tell you you can't. There seems to be a lot of confusion on this topic, and it's unnecessary. I think we need to get back to teaching the basics, teach students, hey, it's okay, kids, you can teach creation. We can teach creation in class if we want. You can even read the Bible to them. Read the Bible story about the creation and say, students, what do you think? There's no problem with that whatsoever. Well, if I can be any help, please feel free to give me a call. Honestly, I'm concerned that many teachers do not know what they can and cannot do on this topic, and I would like to answer any questions I can or steer you to where you can get more information. The rest of this videotape now will contain an actual presentation that I'm doing at a public school. I speak in public schools frequently. If you'd like me to speak in your public school when I'm in your area, please look at my itinerary on my website, drdino.com, and find out when I'm going to be close to you there and schedule me to come speak in your public school. I don't know why there seems to be some schools that are afraid to have a creationist come in. There's no reason to be afraid. You certainly can. If I'm unable to come or schedule doesn't permit, I can certainly give you a list of other people who speak on creation. But I think it's essential that students get the information, that they see, hey, it's okay, I can learn about the Bible in my public school, I can learn about creation in my public school. So feel free to give us a call. We hope you enjoy the rest of this video. Well, thank you, boys and girls, for coming this morning. My name is Kent Hovind. I was a high school science teacher for 15 years, and now I travel all over and do seminars on creation, evolution, and dinosaurs. I like science. And we're going to talk about some science things here this morning. Now, this is not my wife. This is just a picture of her. We live in Pensacola, Florida. I've been there for 14 years, and I have 3 children, all married, and 2 grandkids. And we have about 30 people working in my ministry there called Creation Science Evangelism. And we do all sorts of activities on creation and evolution. Now, I like science. I collect science books. I just like science. And today, whenever you see this beep signal, I want you to raise both hands and put them back down as fast as you can. Ready, set, beep. Hands up, back down. Pretty slow, but that's okay. You'll get faster. Okay, I like science. Does anybody here know how to shoot a rubber band? Okay, sir, right there, come on up. And your wife next to you, come on up. Both of you two right there. Okay. Hurry, hurry, hurry. Let's go. What's your name, sir? Jamie.
Jeremy?
Jeremy. And is this your wife?
No.
Okay. And what's your name?
Jordan.
Jordan. Here you go. We have some brand new rubber bands. Jamie and Jordan. Pick one of those. Jeremy. Okay, Jeremy and Jordan. I want you to see how far you can shoot the rubber band. Let's go toward that corner over there where the drinking fountain is. Go ahead, ladies first. Ooh, okay. All right. Oh, about the same distance. Okay, girl in the red sweater, stand up there because they can see how far they went. Now watch this carefully because I happen to know the scientific way to shoot a rubber band. You ready to watch this? If you're real quiet, you can actually hear mine go. They go so fast. You ready? The scientific way to shoot a rubber band. Ooh. Now, you are thinking of a question, and the question has 5 words in it. The magic question is, how did you do that? Right now, you're probably thinking of a question. How did you do that anyway? Well, we're going to teach you guys when we're done. If you all sit there real quiet. Let's give them a big hand for practicing. We'll let you try it again in a minute. Thank you. Have a seat. I like science. I'm going to show you guys real quickly the scientific way to make a round airplane. See, moving air has less pressure. Oh, thank you, ma'am. You're a Gentile and a scholar. If I blow under this piece of paper, it will lift up. If I blow over the piece of paper, it will lift up. No, it'll lift up. Moving air has less pressure. That's why the top of an airplane wing is curved and the bottom is straight. Air moves over the top and actually sucks the airplane off the ground. It's called lift. So if I fold it over to make an airplane,